So each of us longs for that sense of security, right? That sense of a place where we can be ourselves. What psychologists call that a secure base of attachment. You know, that's that for me. It's and we'll do that. I'm in some circle and everybody thinks I'm quiet. I'm in some circle, everybody thinks I'm loud, you know. I need a bit of that, and sometimes you're in some places like that, you think you expect that, but people, have their own agenda and all of that. But we all need times in our tribe with people that know you, trust you, and you can be authentic with and it's a place where you feel secure. You feel at home. We call that home. You know, um, quick one. Sometimes when I'm away from home, I can shout, I can do all of that, and when I come home, I just want to be just quiet. Sometimes that doesn't work with my wife. She expects me to be the same old loud person I am outside the home. But hope I can do that. I can play to the gallery all my life, Uh but key word is that we all need a place where we can feel secure. We can be authentic. We can be ourselves. We don't always have to have our guards on. And we can only do that with people that we know, people that we've lived with, we've tested and they've tested us, and we'll feel at home with, and each of us have a particular way of staying connected to the people that we need, that place where you find security, you find rest, and it's not just with your spouse, it could also be with trusted friends, we've talked about earlier, we talked about people, platonic love, we've talked about romantic love, that it's not just your spouse you feel at home with, you know, I spent this morning with my dear sister here in the estate. After exercising, we spent some time just gisting, just talking, and just being a blessing to one another, in a place where we could feel safe, and we all need that. It makes us human. It makes us feel human. It gives us a place where we can breathe. It brings us to a place where we can breathe. And you need that in your life. You can't be all walked up, all oh God, that's not living. That's not living. You need a place to breathe. Otherwise you're gonna go into depression, you're gonna get exhausted, you're gonna wear out. You need time with friends. You need time with friends. You need time to breathe, to just exhale, exhale. We can only do that in a trusted environment, you know. So, and when we talk about security, also it exists on a spectrum, right? So when we talk about being at home, being outside, not all places are the same level. I have several WhatsApp group I'm connected to, right? My elementary school, secondary school, university, and I can only share some secrets to different levels in those places. My level of trust in those places are not the same, right? And I have other ones also, right? So security is on the spectrum. Now you have to be aware, of where you are, and you need to understand your relationship, understand your groupings, and know what to share and what not to share. Even because as we talk about vulnerability, like I've said over certain meetings, there's also a place where you need to have your boundaries. We all need functional and healthy boundaries in our life, right? As much as we need to be vulnerable, the world, the world has its own issues, has its own trouble, and not everybody can stand the 100% authentic you. So you need to know places where you need to be cautious, You need to you need to draw your line in the sand, places where I can truly be all me, and places where I should not, for good reason. It's just like my mama used to tell me, that when you go to church, not everybody that comes to church has the same intent, free mind like you, so don't just expect that from everybody. People come to church for several reasons. People come into friendship for several reasons, and some of them are not ideal, so you have to protect yourself, so no way is home and no way is not home. No way is your tribe. No way it's not your tribe, so you be guided, right? So sometimes we hit the roadblock in life, and it's those people, those trusted people that can help us come back to that place of security, that place of comfort. Not everybody, not everybody. I was just sharing with my friend when I was in depression. I was in Port Harcourt. One of my dear friends that we were in the university together. He told me that I should not share my story with everybody because some people are happy that I'm depressed. Some people are happy that I have an area of my life that is not going well. So it's not everybody that's gonna, feel with me. Some people are just happy that it happened to me. And it was saying the truth. It was saying the truth. I share my story with everybody, but some people will commiserate with me. But some people are just say, "Wow, oh, awesome, good, oh, this loud mouth, it happened to him." But we need people. We need people in our lives that we can trust enough to be real, to be authentic with. And that one of those first people should be your spouse. Otherwise you're gonna have problem in your marriage. You will need to be able to walk on one another, that we can be authentic to one another. We can excel. We can breathe in our relationship. That's important if you're going to have a healthy, life-giving relationship, marriage, right? So recognizing and understanding our emotions, right? And how those emotions affect our partner, our intimate partner, especially the person beside us, can both be subtle and sweeping impacts on our life. So we're gonna move here into talking about emotions, right? And all I've said about intimacy here, most of it is not necessarily a sense of security is not necessarily reality, it's a perception. If I feel a sense of being safe, it's my perception, which not all the time it's real, but it's what the way I perceive the person or the environment to be, right? And that can come from the way I feel in that relationship, or the way that relationship makes me feel, right? And it's important to understand because it affects us. If I'm with my spouse and I don't feel safe or I don't feel, those are emotions that come to play. And it helps us to understand those emotions because feelings are finicky. They don't necessarily have definitions of their own, right? I can feel somehow doesn't mean that is what it means. It could mean 1,001 things. I could feel two people can feel one way, but it could mean 1,001 different things to both of them. So in our relationship, it helps to get a good grasp of our emotions, right? Because it can destroy us. It can destroy our relationship, if we don't have a good grasp of our emotions. Our emotions are good, beautiful, but they are meant for us to use, not for them to use us, right? Earlier we talked about infatuation, right? Because you're infatuated about someone doesn't mean it's your spouse or God is telling you to do something. When we're growing up in Christendom university, we used to talk about those different things. You saw someone and you felt your whole body began to shake. And you felt, and we used to describe it as heaven came down, glory filled my heart. Because you're all shaky because you saw someone doesn't mean that person God is telling you to marry. There might be 1,000 one of the reasons why your whole body is shaking at that point in time, and it might have nothing to do with you getting engaged or married to that person, right? People have made a shipwreck of their life because they felt that physical feeling, that enwrapment was God talking to them, whereas it was just a sheer infatuation, right? And they went ahead with it only to be married to demons, right? Or just things out of whack in their relationship, so it helps to understand our emotions, because then that helps us to use them rather than having our emotions use us, right? So understanding how others feel and think is beneficial to our relationship. Understanding how we feel and think is beneficial to our relationship, whether it be that relationship with our spouse or relationship with every other person. Generally, like I said, I had a good time with my sister here sharing this morning, and and I have several people like that in my life, that I get to share with, spend time with, and and need to balance things and know what each relationship represents, and put them where they are, where they need to be, not confuse them, with what they are not, right? So when we talk about emotions, the American Psychological Association defines emotion as conscious mental reaction. It's a conscious, you're conscious of it. It's a emotion is not something that's passive. It's something that you feel at that point in time you're getting it. It's a conscious mental reaction. Again, it's a reaction, it's not an action. It reacts. So when I feel somehow, when that brother is all shaky and about seeing some sister, you know, it is not necessarily an action, it's a reaction, something about that person. You are reacting to something about that person, right? That does not necessarily mean it's God. It might just be something in your past, a record in your past that there's a similarity to how that person is concerning the record in your past, right? So when we talk about emotion, it's something you're conscious of, you can feel it, right? It's a mental reaction. It's your mind that is making it, right? You cannot have emotions to something that your mind is not perceiving. Emotion is a conscious mental reaction. Your mind is reacting and is then giving it out. The way you see it is the way your body, the emotions in your body, but it's a mind connection. You cannot have emotions for something that does not pass through your mind, right? Emotion, again, is emotion, energy, emotion, energy, emotion. Energy is directed according to what your mind or where your mind directs it, right? So emotion, again, is a conscious mental reaction, right? We have the easy example as anger, fear, belief, body shaking, jittery, all of that. You feel in love or you out of love or whatever, right? But so let's get the keywords. It's conscious, it's mental, it's a reaction, it's responding to something. Another keyword there is subjectively experienced. It is subjectively experienced. It's subjective, not objective, right? It could mean 1,001 things because the same emotion can occur due to different things. So there's no one answer for feeling one way. Quick example in scriptures, right? Uh Peter, God, Jesus Christ said, who do men say that I am? Peter felt one way and said, "Oh, you are the Son of God." Jesus Christ said, "Oh, it is God that has revealed it to you." All of that, all of that. Great. Jesus Christ says, "Oh, I'm going to go to Jerusalem and be crucified." Peter felt the same way. "Oh, you cannot go. You cannot go. I can hear from God. God is telling you, you cannot go." God said, "Get behind me, Satan." In one emotion, it was God speaking through Peter. In the same emotion, it was a devil. So because you feel the same way doesn't mean it's the same spirit from which what you are feeling is coming from. You can feel the same way and the spirits can be different. So get the words. When we come to emotion, we're talking about is a conscious, is a mental reaction. You're conscious, is something passing through your mind and you are reacting to something, right? It is subjective. It's a subjective experience, right? It means it has no meaning until you break it down and find out where the reaction is coming from. What is it that you are reacting to? Sometimes you are not even reacting to the what it is making you feel somehow is nothing. Nothing. It's just that you have not been there before. Sometimes you feel somehow, and the only reason that you feel that is because it's new to you, something that is not in your mental collection. I remember several emotions I've had in my life that meant nothing. Well, they mean something because I now understand them as I begin to break them down. Remember the first time I was in secondary school and a friend was staying in one of those towers in Ikoyi, right? A school in Greg's. So they were the father worked at USC, so they were staying in one of those towers with flats, you know. So we'd gone to his house or so. But as we're going up, you know, they had a swimming pool at the back, and they had ladies with bikini on. That was my first time of seeing life women with bikini. You know, as I saw them there, uh, my whole body just kind of just went numb, right? Went numb. Why? I was seeing something I had not seen before, right? I was seeing something I had not seen before. So my mental capacity did not have how to describe it. A bit of neuroscience again, the way the mind works. Anytime we see something, the mind always goes back and say, what does this represent? It quickly goes back, oh, I'm seeing this new thing. I do have a recollection concerning it. Have I seen it before? What does it mean? Typically, if he has something that it means, you won't feel anything. It will just quickly tell you, oh, this is what it means. This is what to do. But if he misses something for the first time you have not seen before, see, your mind then goes, oh, we have not seen it before. You could just be mute because your mind is just blank. So sometimes you see something and you're just blank. You just blank. It's because your mind cannot handle it. Yeah, it goes into the record and there's no recollection of it. You have not seen it before. Sometimes he has seen something like it before, and maybe you've been through trauma in that thing. You won't understand what's happening to you. Maybe you start shaking. You see some people just start shaking because they've seen so and they don't understand why. It's because there's a connection to what they are seeing now to a trauma in their life. And they might not even recollect that trauma, but the mind does. If the mind can make a connection between that thing and the trauma, you will feel somehow you don't even know. You might even start sweating and whatever. But you see, your mind is reacting. Sometimes you know you are conscious of it, sometimes you are not conscious of it. Right? So, so that's why it's subjective. Because you're feeling somehow, it does not mean it's this or that until you break it down and understand what is going on. Right? So when we talk about emotions, it's a conscious mental reaction, but it is subjective, right? It's subjective, right? But it produces itself as strong feelings, right? So so it's usually directed towards a specific object, but because it's the connection, but you then feel it in your body, right? And but you have to be careful. I remember as I was growing from coming into puberty, you know, And unfortunately, unlike today, where we have a lot of information and people can break things down for us, when we went through that, we didn't have it, right? We didn't have it, So as I came through puberty, nobody had told me about the physiological changes that will take place in my body, you know. And so I had some lady I was chasing then, but I started chasing her before uh the first time uh, I had wetness. I started before the first time I started producing spams. I'll use the word claim, you know. But there was a time in that chasing where I was in that place of full production, right? Oh, let me not go too far into that. But I shared a bit of how I felt with a friend, and my friend, instead of helping me, made fun of me, even in front of the person involved. Yeah, and that was the end of me ever sharing that with someone like that, you know. But the key word is, we need to understand that these are preaching the way that works. It's emotions, right? And it's a connection to what I have there or I don't have there. And it's not to be our master. Emotions are not to be our master, as good as they are. There are things for us to master and use. Master and use. Master and use. Emotions are to be mastered and used, not to use you. If emotion uses you, you will make a wreck of your life. You will not make it in this life, right? But emotions are supposed to be understood, mastered, and used. We'll talk more.